And staying with trends in Canada, and a majority of provinces and territories are asking the federal government to indefinitely hold off on a plan to expand eligibility for assisted dying to those with a mental illness. The Liberal government is facing pressure to specify what such a delay could look like, with the extension set to take place in mid-March. The controversial update has provincial health ministers pushing their federal counterparts for more time.
The system needs to be ready, and we need to get it right.
Health and mental health ministers from 5 provinces and all 3 territories want the federal government to indefinitely pause its plans to expand eligibility for assisted dying. That's on the heels of a Commons Committee reporting the health system is not ready for MAiD to include people whose only condition is a mental illness.
I've talked with health ministers from New Democratic governments, health ministers from a Liberal government, health minister from Quebec, all of whom say their system isn't ready. So it's not just Conservative health ministers that are saying this. These are every single health minister from every single province, every single territory telling me they're not ready.
And Federal Health Minister Mark Holland and Justice Minister Arif Irani both say they plan to delay the expansion, agreeing with the committee's conclusions. But just how long the delay will be is still in question, and ministers won't share details until new legislation is tabled.
Clearly, what the legislation we've enacted thus far has done is it has spurred the healthcare system and the health professions to come up with a response. So we've got curriculum that's now been set. We need the take-up of that curriculum. We need the take-up of that training. What we've heard loud and clear, what that committee heard loud and clear, for a second time no less, is that those healthcare system actors are not ready, and we need to be attentive to that.
The Liberal government is facing pressure to get into the specifics of what a delay could look like, with the expansion of the eligibility due to take place in mid-March.
What we've always tried to do with respect to medical assistance in dying since 2016 is always calibrate 2 fundamental ideas: the autonomy of the individual in terms of dignified decisions about the timing of their own passing, coupled with protecting vulnerable communities, vulnerable individuals. That's the balance we've always tried to strike.
Look, we're talking about there are people who have, for decades, been trapped in mental torture, being in a horrific situation where they have tried everything and exhausted all avenues, and under their own recognizance are saying that they want access to MAiD.
In its final report this week, a parliamentary committee warned that the health system is not ready to allow MAiD access for mental illness. It found that critical questions remain unanswered, such as how to tell if patients requesting an assisted death are suicidal, or whether it is possible for them to get better.
The choice of getting medical assistance in dying is an extremely difficult choice. It's a very personal one as well. As a society, as a parliament, it is our responsibility to find the balance, an adequate balance in a difficult situation that respects the rights and freedoms of an individual and to protect the most vulnerable.
When the updates to MAiD were made in March 2021, it included a 2-year clock. Last year, the feds added another year to that timeline. If the government opts to pause the expansion indefinitely, that could leave the door open to a constitutional challenge.